What is going on, guys? Dawkbro back again, and today I'm with a fellow special British guest, Raz.
Hey everyone, how you doing? It's an honour to be here. I love Dawkbro. He's a genius, a legend amongst the Five Nights at Freddy's community. So thank you for having me on, my man.
Oh, it's okay.
Aww.
We're going to talk about the new animatronic, guys, and it's really good that we've got so much stuff to talk about this new animatronic. We're going to try and pack it all in one special video, and we're going to talk about where this new animatronic came from, why was it found, and where was it found by the new owners of this fazbear horror attraction. So to kick it off, we're going to talk about where this new animatronic came from. And if you actually look in the description by the Scott's Game on Steam, it actually talks about them making the experience as authentic as possible for visitors and trying to get anything that might have survived decades of neglect and ruin. So we know that they really want to make this as authentic as possible. But to make it authentic as possible, I would believe that they would have to do it at an old pizzeria location, because if you in reality when you see tourist attractions of scary places, they say, oh, come to the spooky castle, there's loads of ghosts inside this castle, and then you go there and it's inside some house. It wouldn't make any sense, because that's not where the ghosts would be, and you know where the origin of the story would be about the murders happening and the kids being murdered and all that jazz. So what we was thinking, guys, is that they would renovate one of the old pizzerias and make it into the attraction. Now, I know what you're thinking, but the map doesn't make any sense. The map doesn't look like from Five Nights at Freddy's 1 or Five Nights at Freddy's 2 pizzeria. They don't match. The thing is, guys, we don't know what Fredbear's Diner looks like. We don't know what the other pizzeria looks like. If you remember, Phone Guy says there was one before Five Nights at Freddy's 2 pizzeria where Freddy, Bonnie, Chica and Foxy were there, and then there was another one before that called Fredbear's Diner. So we don't know what those look like. So what we was thinking is that maybe the owners of the attraction renovated one of the old pizzerias, because you remember one of the old pizzerias was left to rot for quite a while. It wasn't demolished, it wasn't got rid of, it was left to rot.
Yeah, I think that's very, very clear. As you were saying there, it's left to rot, not demolished, sold on. It's left in a state of ruin. And if you have a look at the pictures on the Steam page, then it looks disgusting, and it kind of ties into your other theories to do with sewers and water and running water and and all, just a state of decay. Like, why else would you have rotten pipes hanging about that are leaking water, or you have that sound of running water in an old place that used to have access to all of these things that is just rusted to shit? Yeah,
exactly. So that's what we think, guys, that it was renovated to make it as authentic as possible. Also, it does make even more sense, because if you remember, Phone Guy once again talks about the older location left to rot. He talks about the animatronics having a foul odour, and that could link with the murders of the kids being stuffed into the suits, and that's why the smell. So then again, these murders could have happened at one of these older locations, and that's why they want the attraction where the first murders began.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. And then that goes into more detail, is that how has this animatronic been found? Because if you look in the description again, then a remarkable discovery was made, which means that maybe they was renovating this new pizzeria, and they found something, and they found the new animatronic, what we see today, and it looks absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, it does. Like, that's very that's a very important sentence on the description. It says, at first there were only empty shells, a hand, a hook, an old paper plate doll, but then a remarkable discovery was made. The attraction now has one animatronic. I think it's very key there, because it doesn't say in it doesn't give specifics of what location this animatronic was found. So it could be in one of the previous diners. It might never have been in the diners that we have been a part of. If it was originally in Fredbear's, or the diner in between Fredbear's and Five Nights at Freddy's 2, if they weren't planning on using it again, because Five Nights at Freddy's 2, they wanted the new shiny models, then it would just be left to rot. And if you have a look at Springtrap, it is so rotten, it is so mouldy and manky and disgusting looking that it would be perfect for a horror attraction. So if they found this, they would have jizzed. They would have been like, this is the most amazing find we could have had for this horror attraction. But it's definitely important, but then a remarkable discovery was made. I think it definitely ties into what you were saying about this horror attraction could be set in Fredbear's diner, or the one in between Fredbear's and Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Again, because we've not seen those locations, that animatronic could be hidden away there in a manky old rotten building, and it would be perfect. It would be perfect. Exactly. If you wanted to really experience Fazbear's fright, and they're determined to make it as authentic as possible, as you were saying, you would go back to the place that the kids were killed, stuffed, and destroyed. And man, I would see the shit out of that. I would see the shit out of that.
Yeah, exactly. And because it's so rotten as well, like, if it was carried on, like, instead of it like being left there and they actually took it to Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and then 1, we would have seen it by now at some point. I mean, if you look at the old animatronics, like from Five Nights at Freddy's 2 from the previous location, they don't look as bad as this one.
No.
I mean, they do look a bit iffy, arms chopped off, stuff like that, a little bit rotten. But this guy looks terrible. He looks really, really, really worn out, which goes on to its jaw as well. Do you want to talk about what the jaw's like?
Yeah, you've got inside the jaw. It looks like it looks really old and almost like a prototype for an endoskeleton inside it, if you want to go at it from that angle. But if you remember way back to the first teaser image that we got on scottgames.com, and you highlighted it and you could see the horror. Remember how the teeth were really jagged? Like really jagged, and lots of people thought potentially this could have been Foxy because of the red sort of staining or blood around the mouth. It all ties into neglect. It all ties into the decomposing of the Springtrap. That red is rust. It has to be rust. I don't know what they made endoskeletons out of in 1973, but it probably over at least, well, from 1973 to whenever it is set, to 2023, I think me and Dawko have agreed that it could potentially be set, the new game, but that's over 30 years of neglect. It's not been oiled, it's not been maintained, it's not been cleaned, it's just been sitting in probably a very damp, disgusting, horrible place, and that's rusted. It's rusted to shit, and it looks like this animatronic has been around since potentially the very beginning. Yeah.
And it's going to play an important role as well. This looks like it's going to be the main character for Five Nights at Freddy's 3. So it must have a really important role for Scott to make a whole game just about this animatronic. And we don't know yet, but there's obviously going to be more things into it, but it just looks like the main character. It's not like we always thought that Freddy Fazbear was the main character for Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2. But now looking at it, the icon's not Freddy anymore. It's this new animatronic. So it must show that this guy is really, really important.
Yeah, he's got a juicy backstory. And whatever it is, whether he was the original animatronic, whether that's a prototype or whether that is Fredbear himself, because he could have had a different design when he was Fredbear in the diners. I know you've got the mini game, one of the death mini games where you are Fredbear, but I mean, that just he does look like Freddy, but I mean, he could be the original prototype even before Fredbear was designed. If they were testing out what would work for children or what was nice towards children, what would be appealing is what I'm trying to say. What would be appealing?
Yeah,
a soft, cuddly bear is appealing. Some kind of weird bear rabbit thing is probably going to be pretty damn scary. And if you have a look at it, one, its mouth looks like a bear trap.
Yeah.
Two, it's moldy as fuck. Like, obviously, it wasn't moldy as fuck back in 1973 or whatever, but it could have been the prototype before Fredbear even existed.
Exactly.
As you said, like the icon for Five Nights at Freddy's 3 is Springtrap. So he's got a sexy backstory. I can't wait to see what it is.
Yeah, and the final note as well is that we think that we're gonna learn a lot about the new animatronic from the game, of course. Scott's not just going to let us on a cliffhanger to be like, throughout the whole game, what is this dude? What is he doing here? We think that it's either going to be like phone calls to tell us about this new animatronic. And we think as well that during the game that each night we're going to learn more about it, and we're going to learn where it was found, and we're going to learn about its backstory as well. So maybe the phone guy is going to say, oh, we found this old animatronic here. This fazbear fright is actually built on top of Fredbear's diner, and we found this new animatronic in the basement, worn out or crippled, and something like that.
Yeah, that would make sense, because the phone guy gave us all the information before. He gave us the facts about 87. He gave us the history of the company without going into too much detail. So it'll be similar. Like, we were talking about this again yesterday, and we were saying that the game has to be set roughly around about the time of acquiring the building. It doesn't sound like the attraction is up and running. Again, they are determined to revive the legend and make the experience authentic as possible for the patrons. There are no patrons yet. This place isn't open. We are most likely the security guard on potentially the first night of watch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I think. Because if this new animatronic is deadly, then when people visit this thing, it will probably kill them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so they know bits and pieces about the animatronic, but they don't know enough about it yet.
Yeah.
So, it's got to be... Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. But yeah, we'll get a lot of storyline from the phone guy again.
Yeah. So that's it for this video, guys. I'll put a link down to Raz's lovely channel in the description. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. We've talked a lot about this new animatronic, and maybe it's brought some new mind-boggling explanations inside your lovely brains about what this thing is, where was it found, and about the attraction as well. I mean, where was this attraction built on top of or renovated into this attraction? Because like I said, to make an attraction authentic as possible, you would place the attraction on top of where it began, like where the murders began and stuff like that.
Yeah, because that's the whole appeal they're going for. They're determined to bring people in via history and folklore, and the best way to do that is take them to the original place. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, that's it, guys. Lots of love. And we will see you all next time.
Definitely. And remember, if you're watching this on my channel, go and check out Dawkbro's channel as well, because he's a legend and he has amazing theories as well.
Bye, guys.
Bye.